and welcome back to the show. A lovely lady on the couch, one of Australia's finest and innovative hypnotherapists in Australia, Helen Mitas. I had to remind myself not to say hypotherapist or anything like that. But say I came to you, Helen, and I said, look, I'm depressed, I'm suffering from anxiety, too many court cases, I want to give up smoking and I want to make a shitload of money. Can you help me, please?
Of course.
Where do we start?
So what I would say is what we do is the most important thing first. So we're not going to do everything in the one session, obviously. And
can I also make more money through my mind?
Can you
through
make
the law
more,
of attraction?
Well, you can make more money because what we do is initially we get rid of all the baggage that's holding you back and all the limiting beliefs that's holding you back.
The poverty thinking.
Yeah. And then we focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Because if you're coming to me depressed, you're actually focusing on what you don't want, not what you want. So we will end up changing that focus so that you get what you want. Because otherwise, whatever you focus on, that's what you get. Yes.
Well, that's what Wayne Dyer says and all those other leaders, isn't it? Whatever we think about expands, you know. And a very good mentor of mine at the Rotary Club says, Michael, great attitude, great outcomes, average attitude, average outcomes, poor attitude, poor outcomes. We tend to become magnets, don't we, for
absolutely we do.
Things we think about. And how would we start?
Okay, so the very first thing that we would do is the very first session. So hypnotherapy is different to traditional counselling because traditional counselling, we do counselling in every session, but traditional counselling only focuses on the conscious mind and tend to repeat the same stories over and over again, okay? And so change happens but at a very slow rate. The only time that we're ever talking about what's happened in the past is the first session. After that, we don't need to go over that again, okay? So in the following sessions, we go right back to the beginning of time and eliminate negative emotions at the subconscious level. So we're talking anger, depression, sadness, hurt, guilt, anxiety, limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs are those beliefs that we believe about ourselves that are actually not true, but we think they're true. That's why it's a belief. After we've done that, then we start focusing on what it is that we do want. But in between, I always get clients to, you know, take action. So it's not just a matter of them rocking up every session and I do something, of course. So they have to know, number one, that they are responsible. So they have to take that responsibility and know that they're responsible for change. That's the very first thing that must happen. Yeah. Amazing.
And Helen, how many sessions do they usually have before they can feel change?
Oh, change happens. Look, change happens instantly. From the very first session, they have aha moments. So they're thinking differently to how they thought before. In terms of how many sessions before the depression actually goes, that depends. So for adolescents, it's usually a lot less because they've had less of a life that we need to get through. So the average is 7, but some as little as 3 or 4. And this is after, you know, they've had suicide attempts and so on. So we're talking quite severe depression. With older people, it tends to be a little bit longer. With people who have had other type of help, have gone to other practitioners or other sort of modalities, their treatment's also, you know, shorter as well. So it does depend on the person as to how many sessions it takes. But in terms of what the studies show, hypnotherapy, basically we have change in a very short period of time compared to, say, 600 psychotherapy sessions. In 6 sessions, we could achieve the same result.
Amazing, Helen. And it appears that depression isn't only in a certain age group. It's not just the hard-working, busy people. It's in the young, in pensioners even. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. I can see anyone from the age of, you know, 14 to the age of one of my clients at the moment. He's 77.
Wow.
So it really does, you know. It doesn't matter how old you are.
It can hit us any time.
No, and in terms of the adolescents, that's really where my heart goes because these are wonderful, wonderful people who have got their future ahead of them, and you know, high achievers, high expectations, and they feel they can't cope, and so they drop out of school. They stay home, they gain weight, they
Is it? Do you find is it maybe because mum and dad are splitting up, or maybe there's helicopter parents who want them to, to get the straight A's? Is it often the pressure from teachers, parents, society?
It could be, but what I have found through my experience is that bullying is a major factor. So anytime that the child feels that they're out of place, that they don't belong, I think that belonging is very important. And I think that's the other thing about our society, our Western society, is that we don't tend to belong, whereas in other countries where, underdeveloped countries, there is a community and a sense of belonging.
Sure.
And so if someone goes to year 7 at a brand new school and everyone's different to them, or they feel that everyone's different, it starts then in terms of feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling depressed. And bullying itself has taken a whole new level because cyberbullying, it doesn't just end when school ends. It continues through the evening, it continues through weekends. And so...
We don't like bullies, do we?
Well, bullies have their own issues as well, so I like everybody. So they need help as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they need help the most, don't they, folks? It's bullies are just psychologically sick, aren't they? It's really about them, isn't it?
Well, I think they have low self-esteem, and so they have something to prove. So I've helped both sides, the people that bully and the people that have been bullied. Yeah.
Helen, are you happy all the time?
Am I happy all the time?
Do you ever fall back into a state of mild depression?
That's a really good question. So I think that I'm predisposed to depression, and that's why I make it my absolute mantra that I must exercise no matter what every morning. So at 3 minutes past 5 every morning, because it's the only time I have to exercise, I'm up. No matter what time I've gone to bed. I could have gone to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Terrific.
I'm up. Because I know that if I don't do that intensive exercise, I know that I feel flat during the day.
Amazing.
So I don't allow myself to...
And what do you do? Do you run or...?
I do CrossFit. Do you know what CrossFit is? Yeah, I do CrossFit, and I also do, I am part of a running group as well.
That's great, and that's so true. Exercise really changes the next 8 hours of the day, doesn't it? And we might talk after the next break about your new book, Helen Mitas, and we'll be back very shortly with the great lady, Helen Mitas.